Okay, let's double check to make sure this is actually streaming. So if we go to the live stream, we give it a few moments.
To make sure this is actually streaming.
Okay, let's mute this so that I don't get crazy feedback. Super. Okay, so in today's stream, we're going to continue with the background generator that we were working on last time here. The big thing is we're going to add a functionality so that the users can add additional color toggles to this, or color stops, I guess, is what they're called. So you'd be able to do more than two colors in a linear gradient. And then if we get to it, I'm not sure we'll get to it, but the next bit would be these things here. Yeah, so having, right, where it's got 50%, we could do like a 90% or an 80 or a 70, 60, right? That type of thing, that's the next thing that we're going to get to. But so first up we have adding additional colors. And the way that's going to happen, how is that going to happen? That's going to happen, we have an array of colors. We have an array of colors, and we want functionality to add additional colors. So I want to add an additional input, and the input is, so it's adding an additional color to this map. Okay, so there'd be a button on the page. So let's do it simply for now. Let's have it here. So there's a button. Let's spell button, right? So there's a button on the page, and the button's going to have an on click, which is going to it's going to set colors with an additional color. So it's going to set colors with an additional color. So this would be colors is the array, and then I'm going to push. Well, yeah, but you don't want to be mutating the one array. So what would you do? You would concat it, or we could do it this way. So the colors array, so spread the strings in the colors array, and then add an additional color. Let's do 0, 0, 0 into the array. So that's an array, and we're going to put you there. So there's a button. The button needs some content. This is add a color. Add a color. Right, so then when we add a color, that's the thing. Yeah, there it is. Wonderful. Add like a purple in there. Yeah, cool. You can see it moving around, you can see it rotating. Yeah. That is nifty. Okay. Now, okay, that's one way to do it. What I'd really prefer to have happen here is we really want the so we want functionality to delete a color also, but that delete functionality, I'd like there to be an X that shows up next to each color that has the option to delete that color. So that would be, it's inside the div that has the things. It's got a div and there's an input and a label. probably the last thing, I mean, it could be another button, and it could be like a delete, and this would have an on-click of, this would be delete that color, but again, it would have the same type of thing as the on-click for this one, where you have a closure over the index in the map. So this would be, so we'd make another function here, and this would be delete color. And delete color is going to be a function that returns a function. Oops, let's do that syntax correctly. So it's a function that takes the index and then it returns a function that sets colors with colors filtered, the elements that meet the specified condition. So if the predicate function returns true, it includes it. So the thing I want is where, or rather, because I need the string and also we need to call that index in this case. Index. So if index is not equal to I, include it. Otherwise, don't include it. And so this would be delete color. So the on-click is actually delete color, but you have to invoke it with the index that you're on. So now if we do 3, oops, 3 for, well, let's do one so we can see it, the blue one. Yeah. So the black one is 2. I'm expecting the pink one to be 2 when I delete this black one. Yeah. Cool. Huh. Okay. Yeah, and so there's an edge case around there of deleting all the colors. Cool. That is super. And we have an X in a button. So there's definitely a thing that we could do to pretty this up. We can add some icons. We'll make we'll do a very, a very non-proper way of ticketing stuff. So this would be something like icons for, or delete icon, delete icon. This is going to be to do. Delete icon. This is going to be layout of colors. Layout of colors. I think it's really options. Layout of options grid. And there's a bug around delete. So min 1 color. I feel like it should be a min of 2 colors really for a gradient, because it has to change from something to something else. Changes from something to something else. Otherwise it's, yeah, so min of 2 colors. Okay, what next? What should we tackle next? Do we want to pretty it up, or do we want to, yeah, because now it's actually got a proper gradient. Ooh, there was that. There was a randomizer feature also that we could do. Yeah. So let's do add a random color. Ooh, random color. So this is random color generator, actually, is what we're making here. So let's have another function up here. Make it random color generator. Okay. So got this spacing on these is bugging me a little bit. We'll do it like that. Okay, so how are we going to make a random color? So, I mean, we could do it in hex, in hexadecimal. That's 0 through 9, and then A through, I think it's F. A, B, C, D, E, F is 6. Right. So, do we want to do, so for a random color generator, we would do 0 through because I believe for these, you can totally do, make a little more room here. So say for instance, well, this one, there's the background, there you are. These are RGBs. If we do that as a hex, and you could put that as like a D, and that would still work, and an A, B, C, D, E, F. A7, A9, A1. Yeah, that's changing. Okay. So it could literally be that. So it is six digits, 6 digits of values between 0 through 9, or between 0 through 9 and A through F. So this would be, so 6 digits of values between 0 through 9 and A through F. So for 0 to 9, if you do math.random, that gives you a number between 0 and 1, not inclusive. Returns a pseudo-random number between 0 and 1. So then if we multiply that by 10, that will generate a pseudo-random number between, so for example, math.random gives you something between 0 and 1, and then if you multiply that by 10, it will give you something between 0 and 10, not inclusive. gives you something between 0 and 10, non-inclusive. And then we math, and then we round this down. Math dot floor, rounded down. Yeah, that's the one I want. A, B, C, D, E, F. I guess I could make a map of, it doesn't even have to be a map, it could be an array of A to F, and then do that again for a random number between 0 and 5, and then pick that one of the, yeah, so the way I'm thinking here is literally it would be A, B, C, D, E, F. So this would be letters. I do this one to get, so that makes a number. This is number between 0 and 9, more accurately, integer between 0 and 9, letters, and then I do integer between 0 and 5, and I do that by multiplying it by 6, between 0 and 1, if you 0 and 1 non-inclusive, so if you multiply it by 6, it will be between 0 and 6, non-inclusive. Is that right? I don't think that's accurate. Let's play around with this a little bit. Math.random is a random number between 0 and 1. And if I multiply it by 6, no, I think I still want to do the multiply by 10, so you shift the decimal point one place. And then that gives you between 0 and 9 inclusive. Floor it to round down. So that actually is the 0 to 9 inclusive. And then, yeah, there's a thing for shifting ranges. When I want to do, so I need one between 0 and, I need a 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I need one between 0 and 5. So I could do what here? Between 0 and 5. So my max is 5, my min is 0. My max is 5. My max is 5. My min is 0. My max is 5. My min is 0. I want the range between 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. I want all of those numbers. So I have math.random gets me between 0 and 1, non-inclusive. Multiply it by 10 to get a decimal number between 0 and 10, non-inclusive. Round down to get between 0 and 9 inclusive. Round down to get between 0 and 9 inclusive. And then, yeah, there's something you can do here between the min and the max. There's something about adding a min minus. So if we do max minus min, in this case it would be 0. Min minus max, in this case, would be -5. What if my min isn't 0 and my max isn't 5? What if my min is 3 and my max is 8? So getting two numbers between a range of, so this is getting two numbers between a range of, getting two numbers in the range 3 and 8. So my range is 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 inclusive, so my range is 6 numbers. My range is 6 numbers. I wonder if that was premature, switching back to 10. Up to and not including 1, which means multiplying it by 6 gets me a decimal number up to and not including 6. I think that was right before. I think this one was right before. I'm confusing myself here. So that's a, because I floored it, that's a whole number in the range 0 to 5, which is what I want. So that one has a range of 6. Yeah, and then I think the thing is when, like if you wanted a different range, you would add the, so if it was a range of 6 from say 30 to 36, I would add 30 here. So then it would be 30 through 35, but that one's through 0 to 6. Yeah, I think I was overcomplicating that a lot. Ooh, that was silly. Okay, all right, so now that I got that straightened out, so it is this one. So integer between 0 and 5. Yeah, math.floor, math.random times 6. That's integer between 0 and 5. And then you do letters at integer between 0 and 5. And random color generator is going to do this 6 times. Well, either a number or an integer between 0 and 5 6 times. Because it could also be something like, it could be 3, 4, 5, 6. or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah. Okay. So this is going to be, so random number to pick, making a random number or letter. This is due 6 times. Random number to pick, making a random number or letter. And this is make random, push to array, and then reduce array to string and add hash. Okay, so 6 times. So let's do a loop, less than 0 through 5 inclusive. We're going to need a, we'll call it array. Random number to pick, making a random number or letter. So we'll have, say, a flag. This is, so we'll say use number. Well, it doesn't matter because we're going to set it every time. So use number equals math.random. So math.random, if math.random is less than or equal to 0.5, math.random is less than or equal to, we don't even need to save it. We can simply do that as the conditional. Else, do it in this one. The make random parts of it is this. So integer between 0 and 9. That's if we're using a number. This way is if we're doing a letter. So if we're doing a number, we get an integer between 0 and 9. And we'll say, it's not a digit, it's an alphanumeric technically. So we'll say let alphanumeric. So alphanumeric equals, don't need to define letters every time. Integer between 0 and 5. Letters, integer between 0 and 5, that is alphanumeric. Alphanumeric equals letters between 0 and 5, and then push to array. So this is array, push, alphanumeric. We do that 6 times, and then we array reduce, and the thing we reduce, you start with a pound, start with a hash sign, and you reduce, you return the accumulator and the current. It's literally that. That can be a one-liner here. And then we return this. Super. So now when we do random color generator, let me, instead of always putting it as black, the thing we do is we do random color generator and we invoke it. So now when we add a random color, yeah, neat. Look at those random colors. Cool. Look at those random colors. Nifty. Wonderful. Nice. Very cool. All right. Can we clean this up a little bit? Letters, array, alphanumeric. I mean, I suppose you don't really need that to be a separate variable. And then, I mean, you could do this whole thing as a ternary. Not entirely sure that's easier to read though. Let's play with it. So alphanumeric equals, it would be, here's the conditional. So the conditional goes here. And then if that's true, it's this one. Otherwise, it is this one. I don't know. Is that easier to read? Yeah, not entirely sure that's easier to read. Alphanumerics, math at random. I would probably, I'd probably split that. If we're gonna do it like that, I'd do some stuff like that. So it's a wee bit easier to read. It is shorter, certainly. Okay, sure, we'll do that. Neat. All right, so that is the random color. You get to add a random color. So that's a random color. The next thing, what else do we want? Yeah, I really don't like that. I don't like the jarring kind of nature of it. I think I want to switch the order of these actually. I want to have the options panel below. So the options panel is, I want this button and the string. I want you both, oops. I want you both above the options card. That one is here. Yeah. Right. I think I have some, yeah, I have margin bottom on that. We have margin bottom on options, which is now not what we want. So, alright, let's play around with some layout things for a little while now. So I don't want margin bottom on the options. Yeah, not entirely sure we want that centered, actually. Not entirely sure we want main card centered. So let's take some of these things off. And how about if we add a main card. Ooh, I wonder if we could do a. Well, I mean, I do kind of like the full page, the full screen gradient as a visual demonstration. I do kind of like that. I wonder if we can put all of this stuff in like a flyout panel from the side. That might be interesting. That would be interesting. Okay. How would we? Because then if you have a panel that flies out on the side, you can push it back, and you still get the whole. Yeah. That would be interesting. Okay. Ooh. All right. Getting a little bit tricky. So this would be, so we're doing basically a fly-out panel on the side, and that one contains all the options and the text of the gradient. Contains all the options, controls, and text. So all the gradient options, controls, and text. All right. So how would we accomplish that? So firstly, let's. So what's the first thing we're going to do? Firstly, let's build it in static. Let's build it in static first, so that, and then we'll add the flying out functionality, and the button should have an open, well, flyout panel. That it's the open and close part of that goes with it being a flyout panel. So let's build this thing first, and to do that, I want to take off these main card things, so it's not quite so distracting. So, whoops, nope, don't want that. Okay, so now let's do, alright, so let's make this flyout panel really should be a separate, I feel like it should be a separate app, because this is enough for a component like this. So let's make a new file. Let's call it flyout.js, and we're going to import flyout.js, import flyout from flyout. We need to, like that. There you are, from flyout. That's the one. Alright, so you need to, that's right, I think I don't need that anymore. So we want to, flyout is our function, and then we need to export, I think it's a named export, export default app. Import, yes, that's a default export from there. Export default flyout. Okay, so our app, let's make it do something super simple initially. You're going to return a div that has a class name of fly, F-L-Y-O-U-T, flyout, and then in app, we're gonna put you right at the end. You're gonna return. You're gonna return instead of a div, you're gonna return a React fragment that contains the main div should it be a fragment or should it be the class name gradient is the background? Yeah, because this is still all hooking up underneath the main div. So there's a fragment, and then this one is going to be flyout. There you are. Okay, now so flyout, there's an app.css. Let's make a flyout.css. And app.js imports app.css. So flyout is going to import flyout.css, and flyout.css is going to have a class name of flyout that's going to initially have some fixed widths, height of 100 vertical height, and you're going to have a background color of Alice blue. FLYOUT. Alright, are all the things. There's the flyout. Ah, so it's a stacking order thing then. Oh no, it's not stack. Yeah, it's doing exactly what I told it. Right, because that's still in normal flow. I forgot. I forgot one of the biggest parts. So we need to position absolute the flyout as a top of 0 and at a left of 0. There you go. And then cut the width down to, let's say 400 pixels. Let's do it in rems. What is that, 20 rems? Yeah, super. Okay. Flyout. Wonderful. Super duper. All right, so all of those controls I actually want in flyout. So the colors, the make gradient string, a lot of these things I actually want in flyout. We're also going to extract some of these things, like, for instance, make gradient string. That can totally be a utility function. Same thing with random color generate. Those can absolutely be utility functions. So we're going to make a new folder that is called utils, and in here we're going to make a new file that's called gradient-utils.js, and inside here as a reminder to gradient dash utils dot, what are we doing? We're doing test.js, okay. So inside gradient utils, let's move make gradient string into gradient utils. Let's move random color generator into gradient utils. Let's make sure to export these. Export random color generator and make gradient string. So import something from this folder, utils, gradient utils. So we're importing random color generator and make gradient string. Alright, that's better. Okay, good, things still work. That is, and right, these are event handlers, which is fine. Those are exactly the things you want in the component. And there's state. The flyout, although, I mean, if this, yeah, so the colors and the degree, the colors, I mean, it's used here. Okay, so I guess I'm passing the options state down. So the options state is what? It's this, it's all the stuff that was in main card, which is, where is that? This one, this one. So all of this stuff is in flyout. You have a div class named flyout, which I could also, oh my. We could change this, FLYOUT, return that one, which means we're not using main card anymore. And you need, what do you need? You need random color generator. So you need some things. You need something from utils, gradient utils. You need random color generator from utils, gradient utils. You need colors, set colors, gradient string, input change handler, delete color, degrees, set degrees. So all this, all that state is really in, yeah, I mean the only, it's interesting, the only state that the app needs, that the app component needs, class name gradient style, background gradient string, make gradient string, make gradient string takes, make gradient string takes colors and degrees. Okay, make gradient string takes colors and degrees. Input change handler. So I could pass the setter, or I could pass, it's interesting. It's interesting, really. I could pass the, we could pass the setter for the state, or we could pass the handler down. I'm not sure what approach I prefer here. This would, It's not as important to see that right now. Let's do fly out and app on the left. There we go. Perhaps on the bottom. That's a little easier. So fly out, so we do need, because you do need colors and degrees in make gradient string. I mean, unless we go back to the approach of well, what would that approach be? That would be of having the gradient string as a piece of state. And then, what would that be? Yeah, but we'd still have to have... I mean, I'd still have to have a setter, and then I'd be passing the setter down. That feels like derived state to me. I don't think I want to go with that approach. Okay, so we're going to make gradient string is going to be, make gradient string is going to stay up here. Colors and degrees are going to stay up here because they are used, which means I'm passing those down. The event handlers I'm going to define at a lower level, so they're going to be defined in flyout, which would be here, which means flyout, you need to receive colors, degrees, and set degrees. Colors, set colors, degrees, and set degrees. You also need gradient string. Gradient string yeah, you do need gradient string as well, because I'm displaying it here. Okay, I feel like this is something I'm going to go back and forth on. Yeah, this definitely feels like something I'm going back and forth on. Set cut, and you need to pass all of those to flyout. So flyout needs to accept degrees as degrees, colors as colors, set colors as set colors, and set degrees as set degrees. Alright, so we messed something up here. What did we mess up? Scanning for errors here. Type error, colors.reduce is not a function in make gradient. Oh. Need to destructure the props argument. There we go. Super. That was the idea. That was the idea. There's another blue color. Nifty. Cool. Okay, so now let me take this min off of, I think you're in app.css. There's an overflow there. Min width, yeah. So gradient string, let's take the min width off of that. All right. So what else? We wanted to do, that's gradient utils, that's app.css, that's flyout.css, that's the flyout. There is the main app. Flyout panel on the side contains all the gradient options, controls, and text, but it's not quite a flyout panel yet. Alright, so now making this flyout panel actually a flyout panel, have something like, some state like maybe flyout open is flyout open, or so we'll have flyout. So we need use state, import use state from React, and we'll have some state here like is flyout open, and set is flyout open. It's going to start as true. And the thing we're going to do, so I can do these a little more easily. Change the syntax a little bit. Like there, I'm going to need to indent these things. Up one, like that. Yeah, there we go, better. Okay. Class name flyout. Yeah. So there's another to do here. I want to convert CSS to SCSS. Because the thing I wanted to do is flyout because it's really, I want to do flyout open and otherwise flyout closed and flyout open displays all of that. Pardon, flyout open displays all of that. Flyout closed displays other things. So this would be flyout open is all this stuff. Flyout open is all of this. All that stuff is flyout open. Flyout closed is a different div. You are a div, the class name of flyout closed, and this is if is flyout open this JavaScript is fly out open, you do fly out open, otherwise fly out closed. So for fly out closed, simply do that for the moment. Yeah. Let's do as a string. Is that going to cooperate, or do I need to do so? And then I need or actually there's an icon, and when you click the icon, so this would be, so this would have, this would literally have a button that says open, and that button's got an on click, which set is fly out open to true. And then fly out you are like that is what I wanted. And then fly out open. There's probably a better way to do this with like setting the button in a particular spot so it doesn't move all the time. So let's have the same thing here, except only this button. So we close, set fly out open false. Set is fly out open. Set is fly out open false, and set is fly out open false is going to hide that. Set is fly out open false. Okay. Do have to address that. Why is that not doing what I expected it to do? Whoa! Did something not accurately. On click close, set is fly out open false. FLYOUT open false. Okay. Why are you not doing what we're expecting you to do? hooks. State is false. State is true. Oh. Oh, that's silly. So, right, but that's not... Yeah, there you go. That was not proper JSX. Right. Okay, now why is it not... Because it's probably underneath. Yeah, there it is. So fly out closed also needs some of these things, not all of them. Position absolute top left. Except you don't need a width of 20 rems. You could do perhaps a width of about 4 rems and a height. Do it a 5 by 5 rem. 5 rem by 5 rem. So a little big 3 by 3 rem. Close. Open. Close. Open. Close. Alright. So, I mean, it's kind of ugly at the moment. Close. Fly out closed. Yeah, I think I'd prefer it actually. I don't like this. Don't think I like this approach we were going down. I think I like it better where there's a one fly out and then like the different buttons have things. I think I do like that one better. So let's go back to that approach. So that approach here is, let's take all this stuff. It's all that. So this class is actually going to be fly out. And then inside of that, this could be, we'll call this as fly out control button. Fly out control control button, and then these could be in their own div, something like controls, and it's the button for adding a random color. It's the gradient string. It's all of the colors. It's the number of degrees. It's all that stuff. So all of this goes inside controls here. I need to indent one. All of this stuff goes inside controls. Super. And then minimize these so I can see these a little better. Button for the flyout, and there's a flyout control button. And then so this stuff, this flyout closed. So this would be, there is a class name package. Is that still the same thing? Let's see, npm class names. Class names package. Conditionally joining class names together. That's the one I want. Okay. Class names. So what's I think this is yarn, right? Yeah. Yarn add class names. Yarn add class names. So yarn add class names. Super. Working. Requires the command line developer tools. Would you like to install the tools now? License agreement. Yes, I agree. I agree to all the things. Whoa! 5 hours. Oh my. Oh, that changed quite quickly. Reading through the output here. Build type. Looks like it's this error that was causing that prompt. I see the xcode.app. Class names 2.3.1. Alright, looks like it's going to take another minute or so for that to complete. So while we're waiting for that to completely clean up this board here I was working on. Yep, it's still doing stuff. Yes, definitely still doing stuff. Look at that. Chrome didn't update. Okay. So, that might take a little while. I wonder, should we pause? I guess we could. Oops, that's not what I wanted. Like the terminal. I wonder if I can continue. It appears as though I can continue working here, so I'm going to try doing that. Import class names from class names. And then the thing that we want is class name. So we invoke the class names function, passing it fly out, and then an object of fly out open, fly out open if is fly out open, fly out open if is fly out open, otherwise fly out closed if is fly out closed is true. Why are you... Oh, is fly out open. Huh. The way we set this up, fly out is fly out open, fly out is open. Okay. You would do, if is fly out open is true, you do that one. If is fly out open is false, you do that one. And then fly out control button is the, so we can see both of them at the same time. Okay, so we have a button, which is fly out control button. On click is, let's make a handler for it. Let's say fly out control on fly out button click. How about, yeah, on fly out button click, on fly out button click, because you need if is fly out open. So this is if is fly out open, you call if is fly out open, you call set is fly out open with false, or you could do something like this, or even you could do it in line, is fly out with the opposite. You call it with the opposite of what it is. Like that. On fly out button click, you call set is fly out open with the opposite of what it currently is. Like that. On fly out button click. So on click we do on fly out button click. And the text in here is if is fly out open, is fly out is open is true, we list close, otherwise we list open. And so now I should not need this fly out closed separate thing there, but we'll also need to adjust the, because now we have a fly out open and a fly out closed, let's say closed, fly out open, fly out closed, and fly out control button, and fly out. So we have fly out which takes these things. We also have fly out open, fly out closed, and fly out control dash button, which all has some stuff. That's the idea. And then we also want to conditionally render all of controls. So you only render the controls if is fly out open, then render all of these controls. Then you render all that stuff. That is the idea. Or although the yeah, I'm wondering what the, because I have an eye towards animating this to get a smooth animation for a close. And the way you would do that is you would translate. So fly out open, fly out closed. So for instance, if I did, it's all on that same property. So if I did a, say, left, if I did a translate, I think it's transform. Let me do it in the browser here so we can see what's going on. It's the fly out. So here, if we did transform, I think we need to rearrange this stuff like this. Oh, good. The software was installed. Super. Thank you. Nope, not that one. This one. That is not the one I'm looking for. There we go. Okay, I want, not npm, I want mdn transform. I don't think that's the transition. That's the name of the property. Transition. Define the transition between two states of an element. Right, so if I do something like here, transition, if we do all about 2 seconds, ease out, between two states of an element. So I think currently it's going to be transitioning the width and height. So if we do, yeah, I mean it's an interesting effect. I mean it's not a fly out, definitely. think I'd probably prefer... I think the left probably is the one you would do. So you'd have a left flyout open is a left of 0, a width of 20, and that's the same, and you'd have a lift of something like negative 20 rems. Right, except I need to be able to see the thing. Here. Maybe yes. How about negative 2 rems? That's the idea. Which means I don't actually need, can make that faster. Which means I don't actually need this is flyout open. I can remove that. This can all go back one. And we could, yeah, we can do some styling on the button, actually. Let's make it move faster. How about 0.3? Right, but we want these things as part of the flyout. Yeah, that's the thing you want. That's interesting. Alright, so let's work on some styling of this button here. And let's do here's the button flyout control. Alright, so let's make you, firstly, let's put you position absolute. And let's put you at a right of 0. Yeah, how about a right of negative 1 rem? Negative 2 rem? Negative 1.5 rem. How about that one? Negative 1.6 rem. How about negative 1.6 rem? Interesting. And that is flyout control button. And then let's make a flyout control button of, how about font size? How about 2 rems? Not that big. 1.5 rem. Okay. Interesting. Haven't played with the fonts here at all. Still very basic. And let's make the left the width of the whole thing. Let's say 20 rem. Aha! That would be interesting. Flyout control button. .4 rem on the flyout control button, and on the flyout control button, which is here, so on the flyout control button, which is here, I'd like to also have some class name stuff. So class name, we'll do class names. You definitely have this one. And you'll have one of either or, I mean, I could do, yeah, because the flyout control button is nested inside of it. It is the flyout control button. Flyout control button. I kind of like not relying though on the nesting order, because especially when it gets more complicated, I mean, it can get involved to figure stuff like that out. So I would prefer to do flyout control button open, and then it says open when it's closed. So this is flyout open false? Well, flyout control button open? No, I'm going to say that it's the state of the thing being open, which means that the text on it says close. So is fly out open, and then it would have flyout control button closed, and that's is flyout open false. So and then here in the CSS I have these two things like this. I would have flyout control button open, which is you have a position right like that, and then you would also have flyout control button closed, which would have, what is the position that one would have? Let's play around with it a little bit. You would have a position right of more that way. Right there, negative 4.3 rems. Negative 4.3 rems. Close, close, open. Yeah, you need to be animated as well. So flyout control button, you need to also have transition. We can do the same transition, how about? Flyout control button, that same one. There you go. Nifty. All right. That is looking pretty nifty. I think I want to switch the order of these ones actually. Although, no, okay. I don't think I want to do that now. Okay, so there's a basic flyout control here. So there's a flyout panel on the side which contains all the gradient options, the controls, and the text, yes. Okay. Trying to decide if we should move on to the next thing. Yeah, okay. So in today's session we have about 15 minutes remaining in today's session. So what would be a good next task for this one? We have the close. We got the open and close. Okay, I think icons, we need to add a delete, at least a delete icon, a min of 2 colors, linear gradient, add a random color. Okay, what are some of the other things that we want this to do? That generates a whole random gradient. That's kind of what this does already. You can add a random color. I mean, it doesn't generate a whole random gradient. It adds a random. Okay, so we could have that. We would have generate a totally random gradient. So generate a random gradient. We have generating a random color. We have the one where it displays the, yes, okay. Change the color mode. So I have hex, I want RGB and HSL. I think those are the major ones, right? There's RGB, HSL, and hex. Yeah. Okay. And let's see. Yes, the other, change the color mode. We'd also have changed the gradient. Change the gradient mode. So we have linear. We have to add radial and then conic. Linear, radial. What's these repeating gradient things? Duplicate a gradient as much as necessary to fill a given area. They're generated with the repeating linear gradient and repeating radial gradient functions. Interesting. Repeating linear gradient, repeating radial gradient. What is that? So what does that do differently? If we do repeating linear gradient, okay. What if I take some of these colors off? Repeating linear gradient. So why would you use these? But it repeats the color stops infinitely in all directions so as to cover its entire container. The function result is an object gradient with such a kind of. Okay. Repeating linear and repeating conic gradients. Repeating linear and repeating, not conic, radial. Repeating linear, so color stops is another one I have to add in. So add color stops. Repeating, it's really a color stop thing. Color stops, and then repeating linear gradient, repeating radial gradient. Okay. Right, because that's the one that has the color stops. So if you don't do a repeating, that color to left Okay, so we got to look into color stops. So definitely got to look into color stops. And it's a linear gradient, right? The icon, okay, and then there's definitely some polishing to do. Oh, yeah, so there is some things about, so font, so this is really polishing. So these are fonts, and we would do fonts, and we would do icons. Can move that over here. This is bugs. So 2 colors. Fonts, icons. Testing. I need to add a proper test suite to this. Need to add a proper test suite. Minimum of 2 colors. Alright. Set, oh, wasn't, now, okay. I want to make sure I'm not leaving more work for myself. So, let's open everything up. Fly out, because there is a button, right, on click. Let's fly out, open. Right. I prefer when it's like that. I prefer it to be like that. See, it means a div. A div with a class name of controls. Yeah, there's a div with a class name of controls. Is there an... There's a gradient string. Doesn't have anything. So there's a class name of controls. Where are you used? You are not used anywhere. Super, we're going to remove you. So fly out. So fly out. Then there's a button. That's the fly out control button. Then there's a div which has actually all of these controls. Inside of that is a button, which I prefer this to be like that. Let's add a random color. It's the card, the gradient string. Can I just remove that? A little bit of cleanup stuff. Yeah, gradient string. Let's remove you if you're not used. Card. Options. Are you used somewhere? Oops. Here. Options. Nope, you definitely have stuff going on. Options, then the colors. Okay, then the input. Right. Okay. Maybe a little bit more simple cleanup here. Flyout.css. Okay. Fly out. Right, we looked through all that. Okay. app. There's the gradient. Add some more additional colors. Change up the degrees. Maybe do it at 145 degrees. Close. Yeah. Look at that. Cool. Pretty cool. Close that. And then we have quite a few to-dos. Alright. Okay. Let's actually been very bad. We've been very bad. We have not been committing any of these things. Let's look at, yeah, there's quite a few things that are different. Right, adding quite a few things. So, I mean, what would we even call this? This would be, what would this be? This is, we'll say adds basic gradient generator. Adds basic gradient generator. Is that the proper spelling for generator? Generator. G-E-N-E-R-A-T-O-R. G-E-N-E-R-A-T-O-R. Super. Alright, adds basic gradient generator. Yes. Wonderful. And then let us look at the remotes for this. Super. Okay, so git push origin main. Yes. Wonderful. Up to date. Alright, that is it for today for our second session of the gradient generator. Look forward to the next session. That's it. Bye.